SiYuan. Let's get under the hood.
June 2025, a request on the project's issue tracker. Add a European data center for Cloud Sync. The current options are mainland China and North America. For users who care about where their notes physically reside and which legal jurisdiction applies, neither option is acceptable. The issue remains open. The most capable block-based knowledge management application available as open source is built in China, syncs through Chinese and American infrastructure, and in March 2026 had documented vulnerabilities, including injection and remote code execution. The community calls it truly offline Notion. Block-based notes with addressable references, database tables with structured queries, bidirectional links, all local first, all open source, SiYuan, built around 2020 by a small team in China. The architecture is ambitious. The trust question requires more work than any other application in this comparison. Developed self-hosted, blog software and a community platform. The background matters. The team comes from a web infrastructure and self-hosting mindset rather than a consumer application mindset. The design philosophy reflects that. Sync backends, database architecture, self-hosting options. Not the smooth first-run experience commercial applications prioritize. The architectural bet was specific. Notes should not be pages of text, but collections of addressable blocks. A paragraph is a block. A heading is a block. A list item is a block. Each block has a unique identifier. Each can be referenced from any other note, linked bidirectionally, queried by the embedded database engine, embedded in other notes as a live reference, or expanded into its own document. The database blocks are the most distinctive feature. Structured tables with custom attributes, relations between blocks, embedded queries, and multiple view types, including table and Kanban layouts. This is a capability that the most popular commercial knowledge management application achieves only through third-party extensions. Here it is built in, free to use locally, the entire feature set available without payment. The open source license means the code is auditable and forkable. The sync failures form a recurring pattern. In July 2023, the file access protocol sync failed with lock errors when the application tried to acquire exclusive access to the cloud repository. In November 2024, the same error returned after a version upgrade. In March 2025, object storage sync through a network tunnel veiled for files exceeding 3 megabytes. In September 2024, the application crashed repeatedly because of damaged note files requiring manual deletion. The maintainer advised checking the underlying file system. The pattern is that the application performs exceptionally as a local-first tool. When sync enters the picture, the complexity increases and the failure modes follow. The security vulnerabilities documented in March 2026 are the most serious technical concern. Injection flaws and a remote code execution vulnerability in an application that runs a local web server with database query capabilities. The attack surface is real. The vulnerabilities require prompt patching. For an application where users store personal knowledge, research, and potentially sensitive information, security vulnerabilities that allow remote code execution are not theoretical concerns. The pricing friction is the adoption barrier the community identifies most directly. The official cloud sync is described as expensive. Third-party sync through file access protocols or object storage is available, but not free in a meaningful sense, because it requires the user to maintain their own infrastructure. A user on the project's community forum framed this as the reason the application is not more widely adopted. The free local experience is compelling. The cost of making it work across devices introduces friction the local-only experience does not have. The data governance question deserves direct treatment. The concern is not that a Chinese company equals a bad company. The concern is structural. Data governance asks where sync data physically resides. Jurisdiction asks under which legal system the developers can be compelled to act on user data. Ecosystem transparency asks whether the documentation, community discussion, and plugin development are accessible to users who do not read Chinese. The open source license addresses the code transparency question. The sync behavior can be verified. The community can detect data handling that contradicts stated policy. The license does not address the jurisdictional question or the ecosystem accessibility gap. English documentation and the plugin ecosystem lag behind the Chinese language resources. The community that uses the application most actively is primarily Chinese-speaking. For a user whose threat model does not include concerns about jurisdictional data access, the application provides the most capable local-first block-based knowledge management in this comparison. For a user whose threat model includes jurisdictional data governance, the application requires the user to either use it purely locally, without cloud sync, or to self-host the sync infrastructure in a jurisdiction the user controls. The free local use carries no jurisdictional concern. The official cloud sync through mainland China and North American infrastructure carries the concern the European data center request was designed to address. Someone who wants the most capable local-first block-based knowledge management available as open source, and whose threat model does not include jurisdictional data governance concerns should evaluate this application. The block architecture, the database blocks, the bidirectional linking, and the embedded query capabilities provide a combination no other application in this comparison matches for structured knowledge work. Use it locally. The entire feature set is available without payment. The local experience is where the application delivers its full value. Someone who needs cloud sync across devices should understand the documented friction before choosing a sync method. The file access protocol sync has recurring lock failures across multiple versions. The object storage sync has file size limitations. The official cloud sync is limited to mainland China and North America with no European option. Self-hosting the sync infrastructure is possible, but requires the technical investment the local-only experience does not demand. Test the chosen sync method thoroughly before relying on it for important data. Someone whose threat model includes jurisdictional data governance should either use the application purely locally or self-host the sync infrastructure in a jurisdiction they control. The official cloud sync routes through infrastructure the user does not control in jurisdictions the user may not have evaluated. The open source code allows verification of sync behavior. It does not change where the data physically resides when using the official service. Someone evaluating the security posture should check whether the March 2026 vulnerabilities have been patched in the installed version. An application that runs a local web server with database query capabilities and has had injection and remote code execution vulnerabilities documented requires the user to maintain current versions. The open source community can audit the code. The user must apply the patches. Someone comparing this application with the others in this comparison should understand that it occupies a different position on the complexity spectrum. The previous applications are note-taking tools with varying levels of encryption and portability. This application is a knowledge management system with database capabilities, structured queries, and block-level referencing. The comparison is less about which note application is better and more about whether the user's workflow requires the structured capabilities this application provides. If the workflow is writing and organizing text notes, the previous applications serve it. If the workflow is building a structured knowledge system with relational data, query capabilities, and block-level references, this application serves it in ways the previous ones do not. The team that previously built self-hosted blog software and a community platform applied infrastructure thinking to personal knowledge management and produced the most architecturally ambitious application in this comparison. The block architecture delivers capabilities that competing applications achieve only through third-party extensions or not at all. The sync layer does not yet match the ambition of the local architecture. The trust question requires more evaluation than the previous applications demand because the jurisdictional and ecosystem transparency considerations are different. The application is exceptional when used locally. The complexity of making it work across devices, across jurisdictions, and across language barriers is the cost of that capability. For the user willing to navigate the complexity, no other free application provides the same depth of structured knowledge management. For the user who needs the simplest path to reliable cross-device notes, the previous applications in this comparison serve that need with less friction.